Hello, good afternoon, listeners. It's me, Sulaiman Ben Swari. If you just give me a minute, let me share this video to my page, and we'll continue the discussion. It's supposed to be brief. I want it to be brief, and I hope it's going to be brief because I have to go to work. Thank you very much. Today is Thursday, the 29th of July, 2021, and the time has gone 20 minutes past 3 in the afternoon in Birmingham, England. And the discussion would be around a brief one, the approval of the appropriation bill that was tabled by the Minister of Finance, Mambo Njai, at the House of Parliament. And the discussion will be around my reaction to the bill, and the reason why we have this bill, the funding mechanism, the decision of the MPs, the priority areas that we should have looked at, and what we should have scrutinized in this bill, and why not look at an itemized option, why the bill was not tabled as an itemized option. And as we always said, it's unfortunate. And that's why it's important, and especially this coming election is very important. All the discussions we have here, it's of no use if we are not going to make sure we elect the right people. By accepting this bill, just prove to us again that our legislators have failed us. They failed us throughout this period. They have never delivered on things that we, the people, have sent them to do. To scrutinize bills, to make sure anything that passes through that house is to the interest of the people. But due to partisanship, due to ignorance, due to selfishness, this is the problem we have. And that's why we should have this conversation, and in order to inform our people. The power rests on our people. There's no point arguing on any other issue apart from the issues that concerns them. Tell them why they live in poverty. Tell them why they live in this misery and difficulties. Why they live in an insecure community or environment. Why there's no future for them or hope for them. And these are the things we need to put to them to ensure they vote for the right person. Not based on what family they come from, what tribe they come from, who their ancestors were, or whatever it is. It would be based on what they will represent if they get to the house. And the reason for this bill is nothing but a political bill again. And it proves this government, especially Mambo Njai, that he would do anything. He would not do anything to serve the interests of Barrow. And when we go through the discussion, we'll prove this. But unfortunately, we should have able to stop this if we had a parliament. But Mambo knew the parliament he's dealing with. That's why he will always come in and get away with what he wants to get away with. And the funding mechanism is based on money paid to the Gambia government because of BP Petroleum have returned the license. It's interesting that we only knew about this. And the MPs were not even worried and asked, why is this license returned? Probably that day is not the day. But I hope now they were not aware. Now they should bring this to the and invite the Minister of Energy and exploration or mineral, whatever you call them, to come out and explain what is going on with the exploration license in the Gambia. Why would BP return an exploration license? What are the facts? Should we not be worried? BP provision and exploration license. What's the reason behind it? And this is the same block that was taken from Africa Petroleum, This is the same bloc. Now they're trying to sell, give out again to Africa Petroleum, but now called Petronet, Frank Timis. And they're trying to get that Ibrahim Kamara, who is an associate to the president. This is the deal they were going for. Again, we expect Parliament to get into this nitty-gritties. But they're not even worried and asks, yeah, this money is coming in. It's a windfall. It's a windfall. One of a windfall. It's not a windfall that we expect in every other year or every other period. Then we should be very careful how we use this windfall. We have priority areas and we should have used this in priority areas. How did the MPs take this decision? To be quite honest, it's just tiring because nothing new comes out from the Parliament. Any MP that stands up, you can tell, you can predict what angle they're going to come in and how they're going to deal with it. It's mind-boggling. And what that does is, it just puts people off. And would I regret not watching the proceedings? I tried, but it was difficult. And I could have predicted this outcome. And I can predict what line they will come out with. Where they sit on the fence for political reasons, or come out to defend the bill for political reasons. And the objections will be seen as people who have personal grudges against the president. Because what we have is a government for one person and his cabal. It's unfortunate the opposition that should have hold him accountable are so marginalized in a sense that they are so divided in a sense that either inactive or complicit in what is going on. They cannot hold this government accountable to the wishes of the Gambian people. And that's where the election should be decided on how did we hold this government accountable? Did we ask the right questions? Did we provide the alternative ideas to be used? But we come onto the priority and scrutiny. What priority areas did we have? You know, they will not talk about COVID. The word COVID, they cannot talk about it. Because we will remind people the millions and billions given to the COVID funds. Not only from our coffers, but the funds that came out. They don't want to talk about that. All the credible institutions that did audit of these COVID funds know that everything was a scam. They took all the money they did for themselves, in many ways. Now, our people to continue suffering. Did we think of that we have a windfall? This is a one-off windfall. Let's invest properly in our healthcare. For the women dying, for the people dying, for the people suffering and everything else. For the care of our healthcare workers. Yes, our healthcare workers need to be taken care of. They don't even have protective clothing. They don't even have incentives to do their work properly. But we will find incentives for other institutions, and we'll get to that in this. And you'll find out why they would do that. Why they don't care about our teachers. Not a classroom. Not a classroom. I'm not talking about a school. Built by this government. Every improvement and classroom in that country was built by the MRC Holland Foundation and Gambians, inside and outside the country, through their alma mater or association to those schools. These are the issues that we need to talk about. Where are the funding? We have seen the problem with youth crime. We have a one-off windfall. Again, I emphasize, this is a one-off windfall from BP, and so we should be very worried. Why would a petroleum company return a license? BP have the capacity. BP can hold on to wells. BP has strategy to hold on to contracts and everything else. They are expert in this. They've done it for almost 100 years now. You think they return a well and our MPs are not even bothered about that? But the little money paid to us, we have to just squander that and do it for an election budget for the president. And we call ourselves that, saying that we have opposition in that parliament. And these are the people to represent our interests. What about the youths? The youth crime. Why do you think we have this youth crime? Have we invested in the youth? What have we invested in the youth? Everything that we think is football. Every investment is football. Where's the investment for creating jobs? Why didn't we think of this windfall to put it in the youth? To create jobs for the economy, but for the life of the youth and the peace and tranquility of their country, for the future of their country. Why didn't they fight for that? These are the priority areas, and many hospitals and all the things, as we said. We have just seen the recent victims of the windstorm and all the things. How much did we invest in that? The president giving $2 million, not even accounted for where the $2 million come from. Is it personal fortune or whatever it is? But just shows you the lack of ideas. How can you have $2 million to give, and you decided to distribute the $2 million among the North Bank, all the victims in North Banks, which end up translating $250 individually? What benefit would $250 do? Why not do a collective project? Why not send it to the hospitals or clinics or schools affected in North Bank? At least classroom refurbished and other things. And collectively everybody benefits. This tells you a government that doesn't have ideas. Everything is about how to win the votes. But they think that $250 is, yes, we all understand and accept that our people are desperate. But the desperation, $250 is cannot do them. Now that's how much you can spend for attire. What $250 mean to a family. And the worst thing of that is because people expected, when they heard about the money coming in, when they went to receive the envelopes, people expected something worthwhile to do something for the problems they have. And they opened and just what Olaf called Tashiakar. All their hopes shattered. That's what a government we have. And I'm saying here, there's I forgot the amount that the EU have given out for the victims of the windstorm. I hope the EU channel this to the Red Cross, because if it goes to the government again, it will not get to the people that it need to reach. I hope it gets to the Red Cross. They will distribute it without any political, evenly and fairly. I hope they will do that. Yes, the National Disaster Management Agency is distributing about 17,500 or something like that to victims countrywide. I don't know where the money comes from. Kudos for that. It's not much, but these are the kind of things that can make a little bit difference. That's what we expect for our government, but that too, the communication is very poor. We cannot have a government that cannot communicate. Or whenever we hear the executive, it's a time to bury your face in your hands because of the shame that comes out from the mouth of an executive. It's just mind-boggling that, and this should be a disgrace to us Gambians. Especially Gambians that call out to be enlightened, educated, civilized, or whatever you call yourself, sophisticated, elite, whatever name you give yourself. It's a disgrace that we sit in a country and this is the leadership we have. And that change, we have a lion's share on to bring about the change. But we leave everything for the people that we call to be uncivilized, the people we call to be not conscious, to make this decision and make decisions without being informed. We, the minority that claim ourselves to be what we are, we have to take the position of leadership to inform the majority. You think Gambian people hate themselves to be voting for the wrong people? No. They, what you call them, naive, whatever word you call them, I don't want to use any other word that would be disrespectful. But I want to say this. They're doing it for a good faith. That's what they believe. That's the best they know. Because Turkey will never vote for Christmas. They believe these people that come to them, the patrons that come to them as their family, as their tribesmen, as their religion people, or whatever it is, as their religious leaders and everything, they believe in them, that they would direct them the right place. That's why we need to cut that transaction. We need to intercede and get in there and give them unbiased information on how to identify their priorities, how to identify the leadership that would serve them well, and in order to bring about the change. The scrutiny. We talk about the priorities, the scrutiny. What scrutiny was done? Is the same old scrutiny. Every owner MP, I'll tell you for that. We know how they come out. That's why I don't even bother now to watch at this parliament. Why didn't we think of even throwing out the bill and send the minister back to bring the bill itemized, to be itemized options? To itemize options and to be voted on each single option. If the bill, then the minister would think about it again. You see, they would jumble these things up so that you would not want to throw, they have this concept of don't throw the bucket with the baby or something like that. That's what no, throw it out and he have a time to come back to us. If he really needs that, let him come back with the bill and give us one item. This is for agriculture, this is for health, this is for this, and we vote. If we are not happy with that, we discuss it, we amend it, where priority areas we pass. These are the kind of discussions. We have time to discuss these things. For healthcare, what healthcare? And we'll get to that. Do we actually need these ambulances? Or what priority do we have? Why not the basics? For the to the safety of the workers, for the cross-contamination. These are the basic things you need. What's the point of carrying someone to a hospital and there's nothing in the hospital? What is the point of taking someone in the hospital whilst they are even more at risk at the hospital because they might die of something else that because they get contaminated from the hospital? I thought this was the option that they will look at. But from the First Republic, it's the same way of doing things, and we keep on not having improvement. I think we should have learned from the United Kingdom, from America, from other places where we see this, bills, how they introduce their bills, how the parties will come together, or they'll fight it out, how the executive will negotiate, and to agree onto something. We also have seen how the Obamacare came about with all the opposition. But they got somewhere to a level that nobody can bring that back. At least another person can move it from there to something else. People would have different views or ideology in how to manage the country, but the best of it is that we agree on something, we discuss it, we scrutinize it properly, which doesn't happen in our case. As I said, it's going to be brief. Let me move on to the items itself. Okay, as we said, the items were tabled from 1 to 6 collectively, and they expect to pay this from the windfall, one-off windfall they got from BP Petroleum. Why should I say one-off windfall? We don't even know the prospects of our oil exploration. This is how bad it is, because Parliament doesn't discuss this. If you want to know a little, you have to go online. And online is so much you can know. Because most of what you find online, these are things that the companies would put out there for their shareholders and as a public relations for their company. If you really want to have real facts, you need to pay for academic fees to get into the details of the oil explorations data in Gambia and Africa or wherever it is. How many people can do that or afford that? That's why we need parliaments, we need institutions on the ground that will bring that and break it down to Gambians to understand. But we don't have that. Now, item 1 said Minister of Defense, 59 million. 754,000 for military equipment, peacekeeping equipment, 1.16 million for Army Central African Republic. I don't know how this thing works, but do we know that we get paid for peacekeeping? Anything we contribute, we get paid for peacekeeping. Did we ask the finance minister, what's the peacekeeping accounts? I'm not saying the money paid for personnel. They have money paid for personnel for participating in peacekeeping missions, but they, as the country representing them, as a country, if we use equipments, and anything we use in equipments should be paid back, enumerated by the UN, then this is a sustainable way of doing our contribution in the international peacekeeping, but again part of building our capacity in our military and other sectors. And again, this is another idea. That's why if we had a security reform properly, we could have invested in bringing out more medics, more nurses, more other specialists within the army, so that they would be constantly needed, not only in the Gambia and outside, and it would be sustainable because of the international community would pay for participation in this. The personnel would benefit, and the country would benefit by the experience they get, by the equipments they would be paid for, and the capacity that's built within the army. And the army would be more sustainable and responsive and in part of national development. This is another area we said, how do we do this thing? We come and take the money. Why do we need to take money from our windfall when there's already money being paid to that account? How does that? How do we manage that account? These are the things we expect Parliament to ask on this. I support equipments be bought for peacekeeping, which will end up coming back, because this equipment are paid for not by Gambians. If we even buy this equipment and use them, we are paid for using those equipment in the outside the Gambia. Then we bring it back. But why not we take other specialists, not a fighting force mainly, but we take other specialists like doctors, nurses, and other things, so that we benefit? Because again, if you manage your security, you won't have to fight. Physical security is the last option of managing your security. Security is about management. Security is about governance. If you have good governance, you are not likely to go to battle. And Gambia, the geopolitics of West Africa and our geographical location, yes, there are risks, and those risks can be controlled. And they can be a contingency plan to tackle those emergencies when they arises, if they to nip it in the bud, in fact, and deal with it before it becomes an open conflict. Gambia is a very secure country due to its location, due to its size, due to its social fabric. But these are things that we need to maintain and foster through social cohesion, and that can only come through governance. That's why I said our peace and tranquility can only be jeopardized by us, and that us means leadership, where the issues about tribe or differences or opportunity, all these things can be taken out, and we foster what is unique about us, is the how related we are. That's why we came out of a dictatorship without going through a civil war. We came out on a dictatorship without going to civil war. It's because of the uniqueness of our relationship. But it's not sustainable to keep on pushing negatively. Something will have to give. And we are not out of the woods yet. We have to be very careful. On the second item, I didn't have time to take more time on this. Second item, Minister of Transport and Works and Infrastructure, 12,500,000 purchase of vehicle for governors. Why do we have to purchase? What's the priority of purchasing vehicles for governors? It's an election year. They have governors, they have deputy governors. Can any Gambian tell me honestly, any of these governors appointed based on merit? And all these governors are appointed based on politics. And this is in fact infringement of the laws. Because the governors used to be civil servants. They used to be from the civil service cadre. They are experienced. You have to go through the civil service to get there. But any Tom, Dick and Harry now can be appointed governor or deputy governor. And we know criminals are appointed deputy governor or probably governors. Because of Musa Sushe is a deputy governor. Yes, and he's a criminal. He said spend time for what? Trafficking drugs. Now, what's the priority in buying these vehicles? It's an election year. Can we not see that? It's an election month. And NPP vehicles cannot be given to governors. Yes, they know that they can push it that much. Now they want to provide these vehicles, and they want to provide it on our taxes for them to be used for that. What's the problem with the existing vehicles? Why is it a priority? Why not prioritize the healthcare? Why not prioritize other areas? What importance are these people playing in our communities? We have not seen it. We've seen the environmental damages. We've seen the conflict between every other thing. What have they done? What's the point of these governors for that matter? Yes, I'm not saying governors are not important, but these governors, I said, what have they done? Proof. Apart from running the errands for borough and borough elections. Now, how can we have in Parliament with over these things? Because they put these things included in other priorities for us to vote for that. That's why I said every these things should have been put in on bring into Parliament as a different item to be voted separately. That should have been done. Then the other point is the minister number 3, Minister of Transport, Works and Infrastructure, 176,393,995.23 buttons. Road and Bridge, Arias Auto, contractor for construction of the Bashe Eurobowel and the Kelling Bustown Road. Again, when we talked about these developments, we said, look, we cannot afford it. We cannot just go on doing this thing. We have to have a strategic development plan. We have to cost these things. We have to make sure it's sustainable. All these things, no, they want us to pitch us. Yes, you guys from the combos, you don't want I will not shy away from standing onto what I believe. People will always label you. But these are facts of development. You cannot just run, building here, building there, building there. It's not coordinated. There's nothing. It's not system. How are we going to pay for this? Now the priorities, people are dying. We are building roads and bridges that Gambians might not even ride on. Who's going to ride on them? The COVID is here. What do we have for in this? No. And other things that needed to be dealt with. But again, because it was a political project, it was nothing of national development project, it was a political project, they would do anything. Now again, why did the finance minister take on this, knowing that there's no money to do these things? There's no other, the way they're doing it wasn't sustainable. It caused a lot of inflation. Now Gambians are suffering, they cannot afford the standard of living. And we should be very careful and ready. Apparently, a friend of mine sent me a video, said that most areas in the rural province, the rains are not coming down. And some farmers have already lost their seeds because of when the first rain came, it was powerful. They put the seeds, they sowed their seeds, and for days they didn't come. The soil got dried, and they lost that. Some of them might not able to replant. Did we have anything for that? No. Now, that farmer is not only going to suffer, but the Gambia would suffer because of our agricultural output will go down, our food baskets would be affected, inflation will be caused because of the deficit in trade, because we have to import more. These are the problems. That's why we need a government that think, that have planning, that does not just do to be re-elected in office because of they can fool the people. That's why we need to speak to our people to be aware of these projects, what they are and what they mean. And to let them understand, look, this is what we've been telling you. The government is not doing you a favor. The government is doing you a service because that's your money, your farms, your other things, your tax, all the things that you do, that's what you pay here. Let the government not come and tell you anything else until you have your entire life improved. Be the healthcare, be the education, be the job opportunities for your children, to be better farmers if they choose to be farmers, to be good doctors if they choose to be doctors, to be engineers or other things, but not to be suffering as you are doing farming as they do. You can never be sufficient in even feeding yourself, or to be grown up, to be desperate, to migrate from the rural to the urban, to be in destitute situation, to be desperate, to be taking the back way and everything else. This is the conversation we should have with our families. The projects were not sustainable and they went on to do this. Now I understand if this supplementary bill was brought up separately, we don't have a choice, because we can have a half-finished project. Then you would have to pay for that. We can have a half-finished project. You see, that's why I said these things should be bring in a separate, been itemized separately, so that we can look at the merits and vote on those. The fourth one, and the Minister of Works and Transport, you see, go and, that's why I'm saying, if God's bring a good government next year, if we work to bring a good government and God support us on that, I have to say the work. I don't want the laziness of thinking just God. Yes, I believe in God does it, but we have to do it. I don't want us to have that mindset of, oh, we just sit down thinking God will change it. No, God asks us to do something and He'll help us. Go and look at the assets of the Minister of Works and people that works around in this Minister of Works. Go and look at the assets he had before he became a minister. The condition they were in and what condition they are now, and the new assets he acquired within 4 years. I hope a good governance will come in and investigate these people. That's why they took up these projects, and most of these projects are not what it says on paper. And these things are need to be scrutinized. We continue again. Item 4, Minister of Works again and Infrastructure, 112,609,755.65 road and bridge areas auto construction of toll facility at the Senegambia Bridge. Now, I don't have it very clearly, but I know there's a problem. Now, the money been raised from the toll bridge. This is the Senegambia Bridge, Yilitenda Bambatenda. The money, the payment was changed to go to the Minister of Finance. I think something like that was in process. I'm not sure whether it's finalized or not, because the amount of problems coming out of Gambia daily, you have to be dedicating just to do that job in order to catch up. At times we cannot just catch up with all these things, but I was aware there was a kind of trying to move the revenue base directly to the Minister of Finance. Now, this is a toll bridge, and what a toll bridge means, that people, vehicles will pay for crossing the bridge, and they pay according to their load and length or whatever it is. There's a weighing facility on either side of the bridge. Now, if this bridge, we all know this bridge is new, it's under 2 years, 3 years. The bridge would have a guarantee for maintenance, or within the period, early 2 years or so, any snagging, any little problems that appears in the bridge, the company would be liable to fix that. Why am I pointing out this? Is the operational cost. What is the operational cost of a bridge? Apart from the weighing these things and other things that needed to be done to be tidy up or whatever it is. What is operational cost of that bridge? If the bridge is serving as a toll bridge, why can't we generate enough revenue from that bridge to pay for anything improvement that is needed? Why do we have to come for our tax coffers again to pay for that bridge? You see, again, part of resource management is to stop leakages and to have efficiency savings. Leakages, efficiency savings. This government doesn't know what leakages mean. They don't know what efficiency savings mean. What I mean is they don't care. They know what it means literally. But it's not in their culture to do anything efficient. It's not their culture to save the public purse. It's not, they rate it. They always look for a mechanism to rate rather than mechanism to control in order for Gambians to benefit. To save enough money from this bridge so that we can build other bridges. You see, that's why you prioritize the development. On which bridge should I build first? Because of how it impacts in the economy. If I build this bridge in Bakau, it will impact more than the bridge in Serekunda. Now, this bridge in Bakau can pay for itself, and then I can take money and pay for the bridge in Serekunda. Then, because of this bridge in Serekunda, it will be better off to be built after than the bridge in Biam. You know, these are the priorities to look at, or you either way around. That's why we need a government, we need people. We need a system that can discuss these things, but not political projects. And now, why should we pay our tax money to a venture that should be sustainable. How much people do they need to employ to run that bridge, to manage that bridge? How much money do they need to do to summon, if any equipment they bought or anything, they should be able to pay for it. If they have to go and take commercial loans, let them take commercial loans and pay for it. Any other loans that can take and pay for it, because they are generating income. Where is the money going to? You see, then if we had this itemized separately again, the MPs would have time to scrutinize it, and something will come out of it. And you think if the Minister of Finance knew that he's going to bring this as a separate item, he's going to sweat. This is how it works in many countries. That's why they get to the bottom of things. If things are not right, they will have to fix it. And that's what our MPs should do, not to just to come with excuses and vote things and move on. Let me move on to the other item. Minister of Works and Transport again. Okay. How much is going to the Minister of Works and Transport? No wonder, almost a year ago, he said to a family member that if any of my family didn't vote for Barrow, he did not wish them well. Because of that, he means that that's everything for his survival and his future. But next item, Minister of Works and Ministry of Transport, Works and Infrastructure, 200 million land compensation under the Baton Hardin Highway OIC project. I posted on my timeline two loan. We remember in 2019, 12 July 2019, or around 2019, there was a loan, and it's there somewhere. 1 minute, let me see. It's on my timeline, and it's on my timeline. Good. Let me see. Yeah, 6 August 2019, Gambia National Assembly approved OIC loan grant despite motion on provision of more detail. Who tabled that Mamboring guy? That was in it. And another one, this one is even new. This one is 22nd July 2021. 22nd July 2021, Gambia OIC Gambia Secretariat mobilized nearly $200 million to implement projects, says the VP Toure. Now, what were we told? Now, Nyangjai and Lamin Sane can be said they vindicated the reason they left. Now the people behind this now, they don't have the competence to do it. Where is the money that's been raised? How much money was raised? The time Lamin Sane and Nyangjai were there, when they went their mobilization tours and stuff like that. And the commitments, not only have money raised, but they had commitments. Many countries did commitments, and they did a presentation. They did a presentation, and the presentation was very positive. Now, can the OIC Secretary come out and tell us what is going on? Because we have not seen any projects, they've been delivered for that matter. And now this rules. Now, why we have to take our taxpayers' money to compensate for these projects? And these projects were meant to be managed separately. They have the Act of Parliament that gives them to mobilize, go for loans, go for grants, go for other things. Why did they fail? So that the Barrow government have failed on everything that they were meant to deliver. Even projects, they failed on this. They came few months ago, they lied about this $100 million hotel. Where is it? Where is it going to? Nothing will happen. They say they're going to start, go and look at the site. They cannot even access this site because it's not still government property. That's the scam that's going on. Now they want us to pay. Why didn't, I said again, if this was treated differently, the MPs would have scrutinized and asked this. And let me say this, just show you the incompetence of this government. Do you know how they lost most of their beneficial, how they lost some of their the commitments, the pledge that were meant to come in? Through incompetence. The Gambia government, through Tangara and the influence of France, they went and recognized Armenia. the Republic of Armenia, and had a diplomatic relationship. Azerbaijan, Turkey are allies to Azerbaijan. They are allies and they are against Armenia. Armenia have no strategic interest for us. This is diplomacy. It's not diplomacy, hypocrisy. No, this is diplomacy. It's about national interest, pursuance of your national interest. France is doing this to support the Armenia due to their opposition to Turkey and Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan have already committed about $50 to $100 million to support the OIC projects in the Gambia and other equipments they were going to support. Where is that? It's withdrawn. They withheld. Turkey wanted to support Africa, and Turkey, I think, is the vice chair, or they have a very big role to play in the OIC. Go and see the development in Ghana, the Central Mosque in Ghana, developed through the Turkish assistance. The Central Mosque have a clinic, have a library, and have different things. It's very progressive thinking. It's not just somewhere you go to pray, but have other facilities that people can benefit. And you see how it is. And Gambia would have benefited from this. And the relationship with Turkey, deep down, from there on. Up to the time, during the COVID, Gambia wanted the ambulance, 10 ambulance, we come to that. They bought through World Bank. World Bank paid for us ambulance from Turkey to be brought to the Gambia. Gambia wanted Turkey to help them put it in their military planes to bring it. Turkey refused. They had to go and hire the Russian planes to bring it in the Gambia. And a lot of other things they wanted Turkey to facilitate, though Turkey is not doing it. Because diplomatically they're not happy because we went and established relationship with Armenia. This is the situation we have. These are things that we should have known about and been debating in Parliament and hold this government accountable. No, it's not the case. By partisancy, ignorance, or whatever it is, we keep on losing, and this Parliament have failed Gambians entirely in everything that we needed to have. That's why, again, the point of this discussion is for us, the people we call ourselves the knowledgeable, the sensible, the civilized, the educated, the elite, whatever we prescribe ourselves. It's our responsibility to educate our people, our families, our friends back home, so that they can do the right thing and vote for people that can lead the country in the interest of the people that have the mindset, people that have the knowledge, people that have the integrity, people with proven track record to lead. It's not because of you come from the biggest cabin or you come from the most influential family, because of whatever thing. We should put that into us. Even in our political party, we should emphasize that within our political parties. There's no point supporting a political party when they cannot produce the people to represent you. What's the point then supporting? Because I believe the average people supporting political parties are doing it because they want to see change in the country. And the change is not only the change of leadership, but the change in the life of the people. Especially, and people in the diaspora, because they have seen what it means to live in a country with a system, to live in a country that's governed well. And that's what they aspire for their families back home. Because of they are taking the brunt of suffering. They are neglecting their families here in order to support their families back home. Marriages are splitting up. Marriages are in difficulty because of either the wife or the husband is over-prioritizing families back home. All these things are happening. And if we don't have a good governance, this will continue to happen. This will continue to happen. That's why it's not sustainable. That's why we're having this discussion. Let me move on to the other item. This item I'm talking about is, why do we have to pay this? The IOC should have managed to do this, and where the loans already secure. Why did they fail on securing other loans and other this thing? Why did we see the implementation of this project? Adama Barrow went to Saudi Arabia, said, oh, the projects are on time or whatever it is, or deliver, whatever it is, other people. You think 2022 something will happen? The roads are not even started. Nothing started. The so-called hotel is, it's just a joke. I hope Gambians will do the right thing and elect a government coming December, so that we can salvage. It's a very important project. So that we can salvage this project one way or the other, to see that we benefit from it. We don't want to have a country with derelict project sites and so on. And our credibility with this government is gone. Be it the US, be it the World Bank, be it the EU, be it any other country would not deal with this Gambian government because of the incompetency and corruption. We have seen the pledges, we have seen the reports coming out from every area. Yes, the Chinese will do, but we have seen dealing with the Chinese what it does. They will completely, our environment will go and they will hold onto our assets. This is their mode of operation. They don't care about good governance, they don't care about anything else. That's why we should care to make sure this government goes and we have the right government. The sixth item, Minister of Transport and Works. Almost everything is transport and works. The sixth item said the Ministry of Transport, Works and Infrastructure, 212,181,287 and 2 brutes for road construction areas owed to the contractors on the Banjul rehabilitation project. Guy, let them say it, Guy Construction. Now, about a few weeks ago, Barrow came on QTV and said this. No, the reason we went for this, it was too good to be true. I call my experts, I do this. Guy said, he's going to do this in 5 years and we're going to pay him in 10 years. It's going to be self-finance. That's what he said. Now, the proof again, we have many times, they came to parliament many times. And they are in parliament again. Why can't if we have dealt with this in itemized, let them call and look, what the president said. We can take that as an evidence. The president made this statement. The president have to withdraw this statement, or we cannot hear this and this thing, and bring us the contract. Bring us the contract. We remember Mustafa Swandi Dabo, the investigation journalist, when he went and confronted the Minister of Works. This was the time they had a contract already. We remember Rahim Ali Glo, the mayor of Banjul, confronting the Minister of Works on things that were really important that they were not included, because it's all a deal. Then the investigation journalist went over to do this thing. At that time, the contract was numerated in dollars, $35 million, not in dollars. And everything was, just imagine the damage that one will do. We already have this damage, but the damage, $35 million, be taken from our domestic economy to be paid for another company in the country. But now, when they enumerate that, the IMF came and said, no, we are not going to support this and we are not going to support your budget until you redress this. And when he approached the Minister of Works, Balam Job, and you can go and look at the video, he was so panicking and said, where did you get this document? That should be a public record. Why was he panicking? Where did you get this document? Well, that was the old he said, no, we are renegotiating. We're going to have a new document. Where is the new document? Where is the new contract? I bet you Parliament don't have it. Just as the Parliament, for almost a year or more, Senegalese vessels are fishing in our this thing without agreement, but Parliament did not know that. It's the same Parliament keep on betraying us. What's the point of closing the door after the horse have already bolted? This is what Parliament we have. What do they do? It's complete a failure. And the rehabilitation. Now it's proven here that was a scam. Now imagine the amount of money. How did we owe RAs? Is the job finished? How much of work have been done? You see that already the concrete is coming off. I saw the other day Barrow was walking around, but you can see the pebbles or the stones or whatever you call them are starting to shine on. Now with little bit more gravity rubbing over the rubbers and everything else, and the trucks going over and the rain coming in, the moisture, and you see what's going to happen. Because that concrete was not treated well. The concrete was not done well to stay. The layer of the concrete is not that thickened. The lot of things about the project, and we'll see it again. And Gambians would be regretting it because everything is just for this election. Because they know, oh, after election will take time, Gambians will forget. Because Gambians easily forget. They will be suffering but they forget what made them to be suffering. Another election come, they come with their political projects which they make so they benefit themselves. And these are the did I miss something? These are the 7, yeah. 7. No, I think there were others that needed. Let me just go back again. 6, yeah. Yeah, according to the okay, 6. According to 6, 7 works. Okay, no, we have orders here. Number 7, Minister of Works, Transport and Infrastructure, $1,127,960 dollars, in which $25,000 for a subvention to the non-financial public institution bailout of GCCA to cover some of their operation. See the rest of the allocation of the Minister of Works in the development expenditure. Another GCCA, Gambia Civil Aviation Authorities. You see, these are all things that would need time to look at and to dissect it and see it properly. You see the way he pointed. See the rest in the allocated of Minister of Works. Everything which is going to the Minister of Works. But we move on to the next one. Number 8, Minister of Health, 134 million for vehicles, purchase 70 life support ambulances to be distributed across all the major health centers. Okay, this is my point now. We have 10 ambulances, very powerful ambulances ordered during the COVID. Where are they? Where are they? Are the Gambians seen it working? I've seen a few times stories about the ambulances being used as a taxi. You see, it tells you the lack of management of our institution or healthcare system for this matter. Now, if you don't pay drivers, you pay drivers poorly, you manage them poorly, what's the point of having the resources? It will just go. Resource allocation, resource management. If you allocate resource, there's a mechanism to make sure there are leakages and control over those resources. There's no more point buying all these ambulances. We don't have a capacity within the health ministry to control these ambulances, to manage these ambulances, to maintain them. This ambulance would be a waste of money. 1. 2, there's no point buying every ambulance for every health center. Where are they going to take the patients? In any hospital, if they go to Bansang referral hospital, what happened? There are no gloves, no syringes, no nothing. People will have to go out and buy this. This is the fact. Now, rather, make sure that they have these things and we find other ways of bringing the patients. Why not have programs that will avoid people to be sick? That inform people these are the things, preventative measures, and if they have to go to hospital, the first point of call, they have the emergency aid that is necessary. Do they have that? No. Ambulances is all the way another way of scamming. They'll buy ambulances and go and unveil it for political reasons. We bought ambulances, the ambulances will be inflated. The price, if they said they paid 10 million for ambulance, probably the ambulance is 5 million. Not only that, now the ambulance have no mechanism of control or anything. Now, an ambulance can be put at the health center in wherever it is. And next minute, that ambulance will be going to the bush to fetch this thing or doing this thing, services, this thing, or there's no petrol for that ambulance. These are the things that's important. There's no point just having an ambulance. But no, for them, it's an election. Let them go and unveil, and we brought you an ambulance. You see, Adama Barrow brought you an ambulance. It's a lie. It's your money. Why not we educate our people to tell them, in fact, your money was not spent wisely. The money for the ambulance should have gone to the doctors, nurses, and the clinic. Make sure the gloves, syringes, every other things, medicine they need are there. If even it's going to serve 2 years, it's better than the ambulance not serving its purpose at all. The money is wasted. It's not sustainable. And where are the 10 ambulances? What did they improve? Because if you are rushed to RVH, what normally happens? Why we have all our women dying? How many times do we sit on social media and hear people say, blood bank? There's no blood bank. How can a country have a teaching hospital without a blood bank? We have to run Group A, Group B, Group C. How safe is that anyway? If I run from the street to give out blood, how do they really test my blood properly for all the other things that needed to be tested for? Not only HIV, AIDS, hepatitis, and other things before being given. No, most likely they just wanted someone with the right group. How many times did we rush to look for that blood? It's not available, and before or the time it's available, the patient have already lost much. And some of this bleeding can be arrested by medication. Yes, they are expensive, but they can be arrested by medication. Whatever it takes to treat our people, we should invest on that. That's why I said, even if we have a security sector reform properly and prioritize things that we need to prioritize in the army would be another source and participate in national development, not to be being in barracks preparing for war. Who are we going to fight? Who are we going to fight? These are the things, number 8 about ambulances for every health center. I can go on and go on, but we don't have that time. Number 9. Number 9, it says Minister of Information and Communication. 30 million for a subvention to a non-financial public institution. GRTS coverage of presidential elections is a waste. I tell you here today, any innovative government would close GRTS. A small country, 2 million. We can come up with an idea. And actually, like Latvia is innovating in many things in these things, and invest in platforms that would project information we need to the people more effectively. People use this now. People use tablets. People use this more than tablets. Now, how many people sit before the tele? What programs do they have on the GRTS? And the system is in fact absolute. It's not a television. It's absolute. We don't need it. Throw it in the bin. Send it to the scrapyard and bring up an idea. Why 30 million? For who? Who monitor elections from GRTS? How can they find another way of doing it? Who trust? This is the problem we have. 30 million. 30 million. When last, go and find out from Gambia, when last did they hear any information from GRTS? These are all wastes that we need to change. The other point is, Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, 50 million for a subvention to a non-financial public government scholarship areas or to the University of Gambia. Again, itemize. If this thing have come to the floor, itemize. Uniquely, let's look at it. Can we scrutinize to know actually how many people are being paid for? Are we sure that we are paying that much? Why did I say? Because we, behind the scenes, we know how much people run to us for help. And from the unions or the stakeholders within the university complexes, they are telling us that less is given to them, and less is given to, less people are being supported by this government. And these are facts we know of. Recently, there was a college again built by the MRC Holland Foundation, but they want to say that Barrow built this thing in Basse. No. When they built that, the dormitories, where the students need to stay, was built by a friend associate of Barrow as a private investor, charging the student for that. Why didn't the government bill for the students to have it? We know it's the poorest of the poorest that go to these institutions. People that have the means will send their children outside the Gambia. But not that, because these are the most important. These are the nurses, these are the becoming doctors, these are the people coming healthcare workers, these are the people coming agriculturists, these are the people coming teachers. We need them. Do we provide what do you need for these people to have the quality education? No. They have to suffer. We have seen the conditions of the Brikama campus and other places. The money doesn't go where it needs to go. Remember the COVID funds they said was sent. was sent for students in the diaspora. It wasn't a lie. We said it. Let them prove it. We keep on asking for evidence. What that money was paid for their social media handlers. That's what they did. You see, they always use a cover. Let them prove it. Let them prove it. We have students follow us because we have platform from Iran, from Morocco, and for other areas, asking where is it going to come, how is it going to come. When we push, they send some of them to fill document. Nothing came out of it. Let them show us how many people receive what. You think most of the people supporting Bao in this diaspora, you think they're doing it because they love Bao? It's not true. Most of them, I said, not all. Where is the money? This money, you think is going to the students? I support the completely free education in university and so on. We can afford it, yes. We have to have the priorities. Why do we have to spend that much in State House? Why do we have to spend so much in there? Most of the people in the army don't want to be soldiers. They want to be something else. Why can't we convert that money into the institutions that they can come out of the army and go and take this thing? There are very intelligent lads in there who want to pursue science, who want to pursue other things, engineering and other things. Because they come from humble backgrounds, they cannot afford these things. If we had the programs that we needed to have in our institutions to develop our human resources, Gambia can be transformed only from our human resources. We have seen Cuba, the constraints they have with this embargo and everything. But one thing that Cuba export is human resource. If they tell you how much they export in human resource, if they tell you how much they export in intellectual capital, you'll be surprised. And they are under sanction. They are under an embargo. A small Gambia that we Gambians can easily be torn into brigades of doctors, brigades of nurses, brigade of the. Look at Philippines and other countries. You will have enough for the country, but you will have, you can export them as well. They can always come back when they want. Rather than them, they go, on skill, taking risk and everything. Skill would be sent. We can transform that. If Gambia government prioritized to invest in our education, West Africans will come and take, because it will be easily managed because we are a small country. The quality, we can sell the quality of what education we have, rather than Gambians going to Ghana, Gambians going to other Nigeria to be these things. We invest in science and technology. Every Gambian is becoming a lawyer. Do you think they want to become a lawyer? No. It's more accessible to be a lawyer. How many lawyers do we have? They don't have any other thing to do. But most of these people could have been something else. Not only that, skills, trade. So if most of the equipments or little bit of infrastructure, industry we have in the Gambia, if any breakdown happen, they have to go to Senegal and get an engineer. And if the engineer did not come, that equipment would not work. Lifts operated. Most of the things operated in the country, we need someone to come out from outside to do it. When we have young people with the brains to learn these things, but it's not invested. These are the areas we thought the MPs would be talking about. But no. Everything is based on political lines. Yeah, these were these are the items. Guys, it's been a long one. I have to go to work. I didn't even want to take this long, but I have covered all the items being tabled and unfortunately been approved. As I said, some of the things might needed to be considered, probably repositioned or whatever it is and done, but the priorities are not being followed. And if you have, people that came in late, you can watch the program from the start, and we have the conversation. But as I say again, these conversations we have, the reason I take the time to either instead of relax to come here to engage is for us to cascade this, to take it down to our families. This elections matters. This election matters. And we need to speak to them to understand, so that they will vote not based on anything else, but people that can bring about change and transformation. That's all we need. We need to be careful about everything else that divides us. Let's just come to what this thing, and this will force the leaders. We can force the leaders' hands to talk to us, to engage on our level. But our people cannot do that. We, the privileged, who have this understanding, before we sit our forums or within ourselves to discuss this, we needed to be discoursing to our people. Yes, the reason I say, people say, oh, you should say in Wolof, so that it can go to the ground. No. My audience are people that generally will understand English. If I do it in Wolof, some people cannot understand Wolof. But if I do it in English, my audience, I'm mainly in the diaspora here. They all understand English. But it's their responsibility to cascade if they gain anything from here. I believe that if anyone's listening to a program and come back and listen to a program, that person have gained something. And I gained something again from learning from their comments and everything. I do go and engage again. I might not have time to respond to everyone, but I engage on any point these things. And so many people would engage me in my inbox, and we have a conversation. And mostly people today, I have a conversation, it came out from this platform. And I keep on saying we haven't got much time to go, but we can make a difference. A quick way of doing that is for us to educate our families, every Gambian to educate his family on the need, what they need to do to bring about change. Then nobody will come to you to talk about their tribe. Nobody will come and talk about anything with craft or anything else, but will tell us what will progress the country. And that's how we can assure stability and progress. It's the same. I don't have time to talk about what the president said at his Bantaba. It's just the same. But again, that is because we failed. We have to blame ourselves. We failed. And us, the privileged one, it's our fault. I'll take it. It's our fault. We failed because we are not engaging well in order to change the narrative. And we should engage well to change that narrative. That's the best thing. Don't engage in any foolishness. Let's ignore that. Let's engage our people. And we see whether we can bring about change and bring in the right leadership. Thank you very much and have a good day.